Yo, what's up you guys? It's your boy Kikasino. I'm back with another video. I know it's been a minute. I just came from outside. It's really cold out there. I am in Canada right now. We get the pleasure of staying in cold most of the year, but it's also really warm in summer. Summer doesn't last very long, but winter is really harsh. Sometimes, not always. It's actually been a little warmer, but today the cold came back to give us maybe one of the last slaps on the face. I'm going off track. Anyway, I can breathe now. Today's quite special for me. I received this little toy, Zoom handy recorder, that I'm planning to use to make these videos, podcasts with my buddy, sourcing sounds in the field so that I can make drum kits and then give them to you. I'm going to be working on a deep house beat. Usually I'm not a deep house guy, but once in a while I would make a deep house beat. So let's jump into FL Studio and see what I got there. As you can tell, I have two bass lines. Here's what they sound like together. Then I have these two spacious pads. First I added one and I was like, oh, this is probably good, but it just wasn't enough. And then I found a perfect layer for it, and now it sounds just perfect. I think I'm going to be adding a side chain to both of them to create that movement and energy. Obviously, a very thumpy kick, just like in every deep house track. A clap. I didn't want the clap to be very high-end present, so I chose the one that's a little more subtle. And as you see, there's two different claps. Just a little perk. And a hi-hat. Nothing complicated. Very simple. Very repetitive. This is what house music is all about, really. Another element here is this drum loop. Actually, this drum loop that I'm about to play was the very first element that I added after the bass. So I created that bass line, and then I found this drum loop. As you see, I chopped it up a little. What the heck is going on with all these Vox samples? So what that is Vox samples. Of course. I think it's a bit of an overkill for sure. These all were pulled out of Exhale Contact, Exhale library plugin. I think the best way to take the track to another level is to either add a real element to it. I often start the beat with something real, like I would do the shaker thing to the mic, and I'll actually make sure that it's not perfect, off grid and just kind of wonky. Or I have this little tambourine thing. This, or I have an egg shaker. Something like that. Whenever you add vocals to your track, this is what completes it. This is what makes a song. All these Vox, I think I'm going to be using them very sparsely. Some of them I'm probably going to use just once throughout the beat. It's just to make the beat different. Let's get it. I kept plugging and unplugging the device. This guy here. Cool. I have never done this before. I have never used any Windows sounds. I've seen a bunch of tutorials, people doing this, people doing that, people making beats with that, full tracks, and it, they've been successful with that. Great. But also it was by accident. So I was like, okay, where do I get this sound? First, I wanted to record that, but then I was like, well, it's a Windows sound, so it's stored somewhere, so I gotta be able to find it. Duh. So I went ahead and I Googled that, and basically it was in the folder that's called media. I'll put it here on the screen. PC, C drive, that's for me. Most of you would have it the same. Windows media, and there's actually a bunch of sounds, and this one is called Windows hardware remove. It literally took me 3 minutes to find this, but there's other pretty good sounds, and it's in wave format, sorry. And let me check. Bitrate 705 kilobit per second. This is pretty good. This is really good quality. So I used that. I did not use the whole sound. I was trying to play around with that, and maybe, at first I wanted to kind of incorporate the whole thing, but it wasn't just sounding quite right. I was manipulating all kinds of ways, and it just wasn't sounding right. So what I did, the original way of me doing that was opening it in Audio Editor in Edison, and then just cutting it out and then dragging it out, because if you don't do that, it's going to end up sounding like this. So I literally just cut the sound, so there's no weird artifacts that you hear right now. So cut it out in Edison. As for effects, I just added reverb and I added delay. Simple as that. Easy. Okay. And then I came up with a melody. So one higher octave, one lower octave, kind of call and response type thing. And that sine hit I was talking about earlier, I still wanted to use that. There we go. Now I'm going to take a minute to organize this creative mess. This is something that I've learned through trial and error. I color before I assign it, because if you try and do it later, it's not going to work. I'm kind of an OCD that way. So I like doing things that are also aesthetically pleasing, separated by groups. I will be creating a few channels for send effects. So I think instead of having that pluck effects on the channel itself, I will be sending the signal into the send channel. So let's go ahead and do that now. Dock to right. I also want to color that differently. Pink, magenta, red, violet. Cool. So what I'm going to do now on this, I have this reverb. I have this delay. I really like that reverb and that delay. So what I'm simply going to do, I'm just going to drag these onto one channel. Something that I learned a while ago. What you can do, you right click, you go to File, Save Mixer Track, State, As. It enables you, so you click and hold, it enables you to drag it onto a different channel. The same effects. Boom. It changes the color though. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with that. So this will be for reverb. I'll take this one. You can also do it with each individual effect. Save preset as here. Cool. I'm probably going to be adding maybe other delay or other reverb. If it's any different than this one, I'll just name it differently. This is 1/8, I believe. So let's go ahead and do this. Delay 1/8, so that we know. So here's that pluck. And now I'm just gonna link it to the send channel. Let's play. Okay, so this sine hit, I think I'm gonna create a different delay effect and link it to that. Okay, I think I like that. This is 1/6. Let's color buses nice and bright. I want it even brighter. Okay, good enough. I select by holding Control Shift. And then I right click here. Route to this track. And now each channel is routed to that track. Also, what we're going to want to do is undo the routing to the master track. Let's do some leveling at this point. I will not be mixing it. I will just adjust the levels. So I will be leaving only the drums playing for now, because I like to start with the kick. The kick, for me, is always the loudest element, whether I'm making hip-hop, trap, or house. I like the kick to be the loudest element. Let's go. Let's get it somewhere around 9. Nice. Clap. Around the same. Depends on the clap. If it's too bright of a clap, I just turn it down by maybe 3 dB, lower than kick. So if the kick is 9, then I would make the clap 12. In this case, it's not very bright, so this is good. Maybe just at the same level as kick. Cool, like that. Clap 2. This one is a little brighter, so I'll tame it down. That's good enough. So for kick, I do this extra step normally to make sure it's in mono. So I merge it by doing this, just putting it to 100% to the right. That says merged. I'll do the same for bass. Let's see if we can, or should, pan some percussive elements. For example, hi-hat. I'm gonna put 15, 20, 25% to the left. Drum loop about the same to the right. panning helps to widen stereo field. Pads are usually for the texture, so I make it very subtle. So we're not clipping anymore, but we also could lower it down a little because we will be adding more Vox. What's up, fam? So it's the next day. I didn't get to finish yesterday. We're gonna take it from where we left off. I actually added 2 more bass lines. So sub bass just decued literally here in the sub area, main bass, plucky bass right here, more in the mid, and then stereo bass. So both main bass and plucky bass are just straight down the middle, and then stereo bass, I widened it. I literally added this plugin also that's called Wider by Infected Mushroom. Oh yeah, and then I routed it into the parallel compression send channel with SSL plugin on it. Fast attack. I'd say this is a mid to slow release. So it's pretty squashed, but that's kind of what I wanted to create, that body. Let's see without it. So it definitely adds a little more energy, or a lot more. After a bunch of tinkering, adding and removing and giving and receiving, I'm just joking. Well, I spent quite a bit of time trying to perfect this piece of art, only to realize that it's just another beat. I kind of decided to leave it at that. I know it's not perfect. It's not mixed yet, even though I tried to get onto that side as well. Here's what it sounds like as of right now.